You're over 30, still single, and no kids? Man, how irresponsible can you be? Well, Harrison, you've always had issues with your personality. That charming facade of yours isn't enough to fool anyone anymore. At our high school reunion, I was mocked by an old classmate for still being unmarried. Even though there were others in the room who were also single, he had no problem saying it out loud. A real man or woman only becomes a full-fledged adult once they have kids, you know? People our age are supposed to be the backbone of society. I just don't get how someone can still be wandering around alone. Feels like you're only half a person. Just as I was about to fire back, the door swung open and a stunning woman walked in. Sorry for being late. Oh, Harrison. She called my name, ran over to me, and flashed a bright smile. Just seeing that smile filled my heart with happiness. Then, she gently took my hand and whispered with an intense gaze. I'm so happy to see you. That night, the power dynamic between me and Tom completely flipped. Harrison, help me out here. Yeah, I'm coming. Hey, can you help over here too? Me next, please. Hey, Harrison's only one guy, you know? Cut him some slack. If you think that, then why don't you help too, Mike? As I rushed around answering everyone's calls, my manager, Mike, just chuckled beside me. Here I am, working hard in the office with my colleagues, as always. I'm Harrison. At 31, I'm right in my prime working years. The company I joined is stable, my career is going well, and I've climbed the ranks a bit. The workplace atmosphere is warm and welcoming, and I feel lucky to have found such a great job. You're quite the popular guy, Harrison. If only you had a girlfriend, you'd be perfect. Mind your own business, Mike. Voices in the department laugh at Mike's words, saying, he's teasing Harrison again for fun. Well, he's not wrong. I don't have a girlfriend. But with plenty of friends and a fulfilling personal life, it doesn't really bother me much. As the workload finally eased up, I took a short break. I checked the messages on my phone as usual. There is a message from my mother. Do you think you can make it home for Christmas this year? Ken and Ava are really looking forward to seeing you. Ken and Ava are my sister's kids. Every year, my sister's family gathers at our parents' place for a Christmas party, but because of work, I hadn't been able to join them for the past few years. This time, my nephew and niece had been begging me to come. I knew they were mostly excited about the presents, but still, I was looking forward to seeing them too. Tell them to look forward to the gift. I send the reply and put my phone down. Winter had arrived. Christmas was just around the corner. The office has a somewhat cheerful atmosphere, especially for those who have a partner. Watching my younger colleagues buzzing with excitement, I couldn't deny a tiny pang of envy. Well, given the season, I guess it's just inevitable. I muttered to myself, and just then, my phone vibrated. It was a quick reply from my mom. I'm glad you can make it this year. As for my present, your marriage announcement will do just fine. I sighed at the unnecessary comment. Ever since my sister got married, the pressure for me to do the same had only intensified. It's not like I have no interest in marriage, but it's not something I can do alone. I need a partner for that. I decided not to reply and closed the message. Then came the weekend. I headed to a bustling shopping mall, filled with families enjoying their day. I had already asked my sister about my nephew and niece's preferences, but with so many options in front of me, I couldn't help but feel overwhelmed. Hey, Harrison? Just as I was struggling to decide between the colorful toys neatly arranged in front of me, a voice called out from behind. I turned around to find none other than my old university classmate, Tom. Tom? Wow, it's been a while. Never expected to run into you here. Has it been since graduation? Yeah, I think so. Tom and I met through the same club back in college. However, he had a habit of making rude remarks to just about everyone, which led to people avoiding him. Personally, I wasn't particularly fond of him either, but since we were in the same club, I couldn't just ignore him. I tried reaching out and including him in activities. Apparently, he didn't appreciate my efforts. Before I knew it, he started resenting me. According to him, I was acting like a goody two-shoes. To make matters worse, our seniors in the club liked me, and I was even being considered as the next club president. That must have really set him off. He began openly criticizing me in front of others, which only resulted in his complete isolation within the club. During that time, there was a particular girl Tom frequently approached. Her name was Madeline. She was 2 years younger than us, and ever since she enrolled, she was widely recognized as a campus beauty. Despite her looks, she wasn't arrogant and treated everyone with kindness. Her gentle and polite demeanor quickly made her the idol of our university. When she joined our club, Tom immediately started aggressively pursuing her. Even from the sidelines, it was obvious that Madeline was uncomfortable. Yet, he kept asking her out repeatedly, oblivious to her discomfort. One day, Madeline came to me for help. "Tom's persistent invitations are really troubling me," she said. By then, I had already become the club president, so it made sense that she would turn to me for advice. She told me, "If things stay like this, I want to quit the club. But I'm scared that if I provoke him, he might do something." So, I discussed it with the other members and promised her that we would find a way to subtly keep Tom away from Madeline during club activities. Thanks to everyone's cooperation, we managed to curb his relentless advances. However, in the process, Tom started viewing me as his absolute enemy. Even when other members warned him, his hostility toward me remained unchanged until graduation. Given our history, I felt nothing meeting him again after 8 years. If anything, I found it kind of a hassle. But then I noticed the woman and young boy standing beside him. "Tom, you're married?" "Yeah." "Not that you'd know since I didn't invite you to the wedding." He smirked as he said that. Honestly, even if I had been invited, I doubt I would have attended. "Nice to meet you. I'm Megan, Tom's wife. And this is our son, Sebastian." "Come on, Sebastian, say hello." "I'm Sebastian." "Hello, mister." Encouraged by his mother, the little boy gave a small bow. I crouched down to his level and returned the greeting. "Hey, Sebastian." "I'm Harrison." "You're very polite, that's great." Hearing the praise, he shyly clung to his mother's skirt, smiling bashfully. Megan looked at him with a warm, gentle smile. It was such a heartwarming sight. Harrison, how do you and my husband know each other?" "We were in the same club back in college, so we've known each other since then." "Oh, I see." As Megan and I talked, Sebastian joined in. "Wow. So you went to college to study too, mister?" "That's right." "Do you like studying, Sebastian?" "Yeah. I think addition is really fun. And I like memorizing country flags too." He's always been good at memorizing things since he was little. "That's impressive, Sebastian." Just like before, he blushed at the compliment but grinned. He was adorable. "Oomph. Well, of course, he's my son. Being smart is just natural for him." Tom, looking smug, managed to ruin the warm moment. "So, are you here to buy toys for your kids too? Where's your family?" he asked, glancing around. "Nah, I'm just here to buy Christmas presents for my nephew and niece. I'm still single." "What? You're over 30 and still alone? That's pathetic." Tom jumped on my words immediately. I could see Megan and Sebastian stiffen at his remark. Well, I just haven't met the right person yet." I tried to keep things light, hoping to ease the tension, but Tom kept sneering. "Not like it's just about timing. Who'd want to be with a guy like you? You're good at sucking up to the higher-ups, but that doesn't work on women, huh?" Well, unlike you, I got married to her right away. He says that and puts his arm around Megan's shoulder, as if he's showing off to me. I see. You better hurry up and get married, man. A real man only proves himself once he takes on responsibility. A happy family, an adorable kid, and a stable career. I've got it all. Meanwhile, you've got none of that, huh? He let out a loud laugh, while Megan lowered her head. I noticed Sebastian looking up at her, clearly concerned. My chest tightened at the sight. You're coming to the reunion, right? Yeah, I plan to. Good, good. He smirked like he was plotting something. What is he up to now? Well then, see you at the reunion, Harrison. Let's go. Without waiting for Megan and Sebastian, Tom walked off. Megan gave me an apologetic look, bowed slightly, and quickly took Sebastian's hand to follow after him. Some things never change. As I watched them disappear into the crowd, I let out a sigh. The college club reunion was coming up soon. The thought of seeing Tom again was exhausting. But I decided to just ignore him like I did back then and refocused on picking out gifts for my nephew and niece. The day after running into Tom, I received an email from the reunion organizer. The reunion will be held during the day. If possible, please feel free to bring your family or partner. There will be a special menu available for children if requested. That was a sudden change. Maybe more people had kids now and could only attend if they brought them along. Since the venue was a private booking at a restaurant owned by one of our former club members, it wouldn't be an issue if the number of attendees increased. It sounded like it would be a lively gathering, and I found myself looking forward to catching up with old friends. On the reunion day, the weather was perfect, and the restaurant quickly filled with familiar faces from college. About 60% of them had brought their families or significant others. With the laughter of children mixed in, the atmosphere was warm and cheerful. Hey, Harrison. There you are. Right at the start, Tom approached me. When I turned to him, I saw that Megan and Sebastian were with him. I nodded politely toward Megan and Sebastian waved back with a bright smile. Man, just look around. Almost everyone here came with their family or partner. But you, Harrison, you're still alone, huh? Tom laughed to himself, clearly enjoying the situation. Everyone at the table looked unimpressed by his attitude. Well, I guess I'll just soak in everyone's happiness today. Yeah, you do that. Not that it matters, but obviously, I'm the one who's got it best here. I mean, just look at me. A beautiful wife, an adorable kid. Admit it, Harrison, you're jealous. If you want, I can let you babysit sometime. Might be good practice for your future, huh? Ha ha. He was just as tactless as ever, saying things that made everyone uncomfortable. But just like during our reunion the other day, Tom's family is here. I tried my best to respond to Tom as cheerfully as possible, hoping to keep the mood from turning sour. The friend sitting next to me, one of the reunion organizers, leaned over and whispered in my ear with an exasperated sigh. Tom suddenly insisted on allowing people to bring their families or partners. I thought it was weird, but, yeah, this was his plan all along. Maybe. He must have come up with the idea after running into me at the toy store. It was clear now. He had pushed for this setup just so he could mock me for being single at the reunion. Still, in the end, his request probably helped some people join in and enjoy the event. So I decided to give him an ironic good job in my mind and leave it at that. A real man or woman only becomes whole once they have kids. Our generation is the foundation of society, after all. I can't understand people who just drift through life alone. Oh, whoops, sorry, Harrison. I tend to speak my mind. Sebastian. Make sure you don't end up like this guy, okay? Tom, there are others here who came alone too. You should be more mindful of your words. Oh, there it is. Same old Harrison, playing the nice guy. You've always been good at sucking up to people, huh? But being over 30 and still single? Man, it's embarrassing to even know someone like that. He wasn't even drinking, yet he was this confrontational. That took a certain kind of talent, I supposed. Some things never change. He still hated me just as much as he did in college. I started to wonder how he managed to handle workplace interactions or conversations with other parents at his kid's school. If I engaged with him any further, it would only escalate things. I decided to just keep smiling and let him talk. But this time, our old friends weren't having it. You never know what circumstances people are dealing with, so maybe try being a little more considerate? You're not a kid anymore. Think before you speak, Tom. Seriously, you haven't changed at all. What? Oh, I see how it is. You guys are all on his side, huh? Wow. Looks like Harrison's fooled a whole new batch of people with his fake nice guy act. Tom scowled, clearly unhappy that others were calling him out. At that moment, some of the women at the gathering, who had come with their kids, quickly stepped in to guide Megan and Sebastian away from the table. Meanwhile, Tom kept ranting. At this point, it wasn't just me he was targeting, he was lashing out at everyone. Somehow, he hadn't changed at all. Tom, come on. You've got a wife and kid now. Maybe it's time you learned how to hold an actual conversation. You can't let your son hear you talk like that. Harrison, just ignore him. Come sit with us. Actually, I wanted to ask you about your company. I'm thinking about switching jobs. Yeah, sure. With that, my friend subtly helped me move away from Tom, and I was finally able to enjoy catching up with people without the negativity. A while later, I heard a hesitant voice behind me. Excuse me. I turned around and found Megan standing there. I got up and greeted her properly. I just wanted to apologize for my husband's behavior earlier. I'm truly sorry. Megan bowed deeply. It would be one thing if he apologized himself, but there's no reason for Megan, his wife, to do so. I hurriedly told Megan to lift her head. When she finally looked up, her face was clouded with sadness. So, he's always been like that, ever since you all knew him? She murmured. I hesitated, unsure of how to respond, but decided to be honest. Yeah. I guess you could say that. He's always had a sharp tongue and clashed with people a lot. I see. Even now, at work and at Sebastian's school, he keeps saying thoughtless things and upsetting people. No matter how many times I talk to him about it, he refuses to change. She says that with a troubled smile. She is Tom's wife, after all. It was easy to imagine how much she must have been through. Sebastian is a bright and well-mannered child. Thank you. Maybe, even at his young age, he's learning what not to do by watching his father. I don't want him to grow up to be like that. Megan. I followed her gaze and saw Tom, speaking loudly with an air of superiority, while the other club members around him looked visibly annoyed. I had seen this scene countless times in college, Tom alienating people one by one with his words. And here he was, doing the exact same thing years later. Harrison, I really appreciate you handling him so tactfully, despite everything. Oh, it's nothing. But honestly, I think my approach just makes Tom hate me even more. I chuckled bitterly, remembering how our interactions had always been like this. If only he could recognize the kindness of those around him, maybe he could change. But I suppose that's wishful thinking. Still, I'm glad I came today. When I looked away from Tom, Megan smiled. Was it just my imagination, or did I sense a hint of determination in her smile? As I was talking with Megan, the entrance door opened. Then, a woman walked in. Sorry, I'm late. I'm so glad I made it. Madeline. I missed you. Oh. Our club's idol has finally arrived. The person who had just arrived was Madeline. She had clearly rushed here, her cheeks slightly flushed from exertion. The moment she stepped into the room, a wave of people surged toward her, eager to greet her. Even after all these years, she was as popular as ever. As she exchanged greetings with everyone, our eyes suddenly met. "Oh, Harrison. Long time no see." She waved at me with a bright smile. Maybe because she was in a hurry, her cheeks were slightly flushed. That smile made my heart race before I knew it. She had always been a cute girl back in college, but now, after 8 years, she had matured into a stunningly elegant woman. "Ah, Harrison?" As I stood there, speechless, captivated by Madeline, she ran over to me. A friend nearby nudged me with his elbow, snapping me back to reality, and I hurriedly responded. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw my friend smirking. "Ah, Madeline. It's been a while. You look great." "Thanks. You seem to be doing well too." "I'm really happy to see you again." "I'm happy to see you too, Madeline." When I said that, I felt like Madeline's cheeks turned even redder. Still, maybe because this was my first time talking to her since graduation, I felt unusually nervous. I struggled to keep my words from tangling as we chatted, but then she suddenly shifted her gaze to Megan. "Oh, and who is this?" "This is Megan, Tom's wife. She's here today with their son." "Nice to meet you." "I'm Megan, Tom's wife." "Oh, you're Tom's wife?" "I'm Madeline, a former junior from the club." "It's a pleasure to meet you." The two of them exchanged polite greetings. For a second, I thought she was your wife, Harrison. Madeline looks embarrassed about her misunderstanding. Megan, watching this, smiled gently. "Oh no, I was just apologizing to Harrison for my husband causing him trouble today." "Don't worry about it." Wait, that's not. Huh? Wait a second. Megan, what did you just say? And why is Madeline suddenly so flustered?" Just as I was wondering about many things, Tom pushed through the crowd and came over. Then, he stepped right up in front of Madeline. "Madeline. Long time no see. You're still as cute as ever. So, what do you do for work? Where do you live?" "Tom, it's been a while." Tom keeps pressing toward Madeline, but she slowly backs away, trying to put some distance between them. "Come on, we have so much to catch up on. We should go out sometime." Ignoring her obvious discomfort, he kept pressing her with questions and even attempted to ask her out. It was as if he had completely forgotten his wife was standing right there. Seeing this, both Megan and I spoke up at almost the exact same moment. "Hey, Tom. Back off a little." "Excuse me, but can't you see that Madeline is uncomfortable?" Tom flinched at our sudden intervention but, after realizing who had spoken, clicked his tongue in irritation. "Hey! Stay out of this. And go stand near Sebastian like a proper mother." "You're so useless, Megan." Tom. That's way out of line. And you're his father, aren't you?" Tom's harsh words toward Megan were too much, and I couldn't help but get angry, so I called him out. Not liking what I said, Tom snapped back at me. "You're single. Don't act like you know anything about family life." She's neglecting her duties as a mother, so I was just setting her straight. This isn't about being married or not. Do you not realize that your words are hurting your wife? Ha? Hurting her? Don't be ridiculous. She's crazy about me. And I'm the one putting food on the table, supporting this family. What's wrong with pointing out what she's failing to do? Tom shamelessly blurts it out, and everyone around him, including me, frowns. You wouldn't understand, Harrison. You don't know the weight of responsibility that comes with providing for a family. You don't know how exhausting it is to raise an incompetent wife and son. Even if you ever get married. It'll be to some clueless woman who fell for your fake nice guy act. You'd be lucky to be half the man I am." He threw his head back and let out a loud, arrogant laugh. It was one thing for him to insult me. But to belittle his own wife and child? That was beyond unacceptable. And I wasn't the only one who felt that way. "Tom, you're absolutely disgusting. You really haven't changed at all." Madeline speaks to Tom in a cold tone I've never heard from her before. Harrison is completely right. You're the one in the wrong, Tom. Ever since college, Harrison has always been considerate of others. That's why people trust him and support him. And you? What have you ever done? You've only ever caused trouble for the people around you, making their lives harder with your selfishness. Tom was visibly shocked by Madeline's words of criticism. And frankly, I don't even care if your wife is here to hear this. Do you remember when you wouldn't stop harassing me in college? No matter how many times I rejected you, you just would not take the hint. You made me so uncomfortable. And you know who helped me? Harrison and the others. They protected me from you, Tom. Thanks to them, I was able to enjoy my time in college. But now, here you are, treating Harrison like garbage when he was one of the few people who actually put up with you. I thought maybe you'd changed after all these years. But no, you've only gotten worse. And the way you talk to your own wife? As a woman, I refuse to let that slide. The things you just said to her are absolutely unforgivable. Applause and murmurs of agreement rise from all around in response to Madeline's words. Tom probably never expected to be criticized this much by Madeline, whom he once had feelings for. He was so flustered that it was almost pitiful. And then, Megan quietly spoke up. "Madeline. Harrison, thank you for standing up for us." She says that and quietly bowed her head. Then, as she lifts her head, she looks straight at Tom. Her expression was stern. Even Tom held his breath at Megan's look. "Tom. Everything Madeline just said, the way you treated everyone today, the way you insulted Harrison, nothing has changed. You haven't changed. And I refuse to play along with this family charade of yours any longer. So, I'll say this in front of everyone here. I'm divorcing you." Megan's words caused a stir among everyone present. And of course, Tom was no exception. "Huh? What are you talking about? Quit joking around. That's not funny." He tried to laugh it off, but his face was stiff. His usual cocky grin was gone. "This isn't a joke. I'm completely serious. And, of course, I will be taking full custody of Sebastian." "What?" "Sebastian is my son. If he stays with a woman like you, he'll have a miserable life. I'll be the one to raise him." "You? Raise him? You've done nothing for him. Do you really think you're capable of being a father? You can't even hold a proper conversation with other parents at school. You isolate yourself everywhere you go. How could someone like that possibly raise a child?" "Don't make me laugh." Her words cut through him like a blade. Even those of us on the sidelines could tell that Megan had already made up her mind. "You've got to be kidding me. I only held back because I wanted you to grow, but if I actually did it myself, I'd obviously be way more efficient than you. And besides, a child needs his father. There's no way Sebastian would prefer a useless mother over a strong, capable father like me. And if people find out about the divorce, it'll affect my career too." Even in this situation, all Tom could do was spew selfish nonsense, caring only about his own reputation. Everyone was left speechless. Just then, Sebastian, who had been playing with the other children, somehow ended up near Megan. Perhaps drawn by the commotion or simply looking for his mother. "Dad, just stop it already." Mom works so hard every day, taking care of me, taking care of you, and managing the house. So why can't you just say thank you or I'm sorry to her? Even today, you've been saying awful things to your friends. And it's embarrassing for me. Tears welled up in Sebastian's eyes as he desperately pleaded. Even Tom was at a loss for words. I want to live with Mom. I don't ever want to live with you. You don't care about me at all, do you? But Mom does. She always thinks about me. Mom, you don't have to hold back anymore. I'll be okay, even if it's just the two of us. I just want you to be happy. Watching Sebastian cling to Megan, my chest tightened. The fact that such a young child had to feel this way spoke volumes about how Tom had treated them all this time. The cold stares from the onlookers were now directed at Tom. Sebastian. You understand now, don't you? Both Sebastian and I have made up our minds. I don't want him to suffer anymore. So this is the end. Megan averted her gaze from Tom and turned toward us instead. Everyone, I'm so sorry. This was supposed to be a fun gathering, but our family ended up ruining it. Madeline, Harrison. Thank you for looking out for us. It really meant a lot. After bowing deeply, she gripped Sebastian's hand tightly and said, "Excuse us," before leaving the venue. Tom stood there, stunned, but as the sound of the door closing snapped him back to reality, he frantically rushed after Megan and Sebastian. We were left standing in silence, processing what had just happened. Then, one of the organizers spoke up. We still have time. Should we try to start over? The reunion resumed. At first, the atmosphere was a little awkward, but without Tom, things became much more comfortable. Before long, the lively energy returned. Despite the unexpected drama, the reunion continued peacefully afterward. A few days later, we decided to meet up again in a smaller group to have a more relaxed conversation with the friends who had attended the reunion. I arrived at the meeting spot near a bustling downtown station, chatting with the others as we waited for the rest to arrive. Hey, Harrison! A sudden voice called out. Tom. Standing there was Tom, looking exhausted, with dark circles under his eyes and wearing a wrinkled shirt and coat. Harrison, you told Megan something, didn't you? Tom stormed toward me, shouting. Calm down. What the hell are you talking about? We tried to restrain him, but his anger didn't subside. She really went through with it. She left with Sebastian. She won't even answer my calls, and when I went to her parents' place, they slammed the door in my face. So Megan really did leave, taking Sebastian with her. We exchanged glances. It was unfortunate, but he had brought this upon himself. There was nothing we could do. They never defied me before. It doesn't make sense. Harrison, I saw you talking to Megan that day. You must have filled her head with lies. You tricked her with that smooth talk of yours. Yeah, that's it. This is all your fault. Just as Tom was about to grab me, my friends held him back. Tom, enough already. This isn't Harrison's fault, it's yours. This is the result of how you treated your wife and son. We've told you so many times, haven't we? Think before you speak. But you never listened. This is your responsibility, not Harrison's, not Megan's, not Sebastian's. It's yours. As more and more friends confronted him, his aggressive energy started to fade. Tom. Megan was struggling for a long time. Even at work, even in Sebastian's social circles, she was always dealing with the mess you made. She gave you so many signs. She was at her limit. And the only person who could have seen that was you. She was your wife. Why didn't you cherish her more? Instead of blaming me, why aren't you thinking about what you can do now? Go apologize to Megan. Do it as many times as it takes. I couldn't hold back my emotions as I recalled the looks on Megan and Sebastian's faces that day. I didn't know if my words reached him, but Tom, now completely drained, mumbled something under his breath and staggered away into the crowd. Is he gonna be okay? From what I heard, after his wife and kid left, he screwed up at work too. They're deciding whether to demote him or fire him. He totally did this to himself, but still, this whole thing just sucks. We stood there for a moment, watching him disappear into the crowd. Later, I heard from a friend that Tom ended up getting divorced and quitting his job. Megan and her parents remained firm in their decision, refusing to be swayed. As for his workplace, Tom, already on edge from the situation with Megan, lashed out at a junior employee. When his supervisor tried to intervene, he exploded at them too, causing a huge scandal. Turns out, when Tom came to confront us, he had already been suspended. Afterward, reports surfaced about his past behavior, poor work ethic, inappropriate remarks, and the company decided to transfer him from the main office to a remote branch. Unable to endure the decision, Tom ultimately resigned of his own accord. Now that he was completely alone, I wondered what was going through his mind. To be honest, I never liked him. He constantly threw insults at me, and I found him difficult to be around. There was nothing about his behavior that I could defend, nor did I intend to. However, losing both his family and job, the very things that upheld his self-worth, might finally make him reflect on himself, even if just a little. As for me, I never want to end up like Tom. I want to continue treating the people around me with care and kindness. Because I have someone I never want to lose. Harrison. Madeline. Hey, slow down. What if you trip? I know. Geez, you worry too much. Daddy. Madeline giggled, gently rubbing her belly in front of me. That reunion had brought us together, and we started dating soon after. I was surprised to learn that Madeline had liked me since her college days, but apparently, all our friends had already figured it out. She laughed and called me totally oblivious. Things moved quickly from there, we got married, and since then, we've remained close with many of our friends, as well as Megan and her son. They were there to celebrate with us. And now, Madeline is carrying our child. She deeply admires Megan, who is strong and dependable, looking up to her as a mentor in motherhood. At first, Megan and Sebastian struggled financially after the divorce, but they were finally free from Tom's insults and troubles. When I saw them again, Megan looked at peace, her face radiating happiness. Sebastian, whom I hadn't seen in a while, had grown to resemble Tom in appearance. But unlike his father, he was a warm-hearted, energetic boy who always looked out for his mother. And now, even for Madeline during her pregnancy. I can only hope that our child grows up to be as kind-hearted as Sebastian.